Strikes on Hamas targets, the IDF is working feverishly on the new war plan that calls for the occupation of Gaza City. More from ILTV's Steve Leibowitz.
After receiving his orders from the political echelon, IDF Chief Eyal Zamir got busy preparing for the task of taking over Gaza City beginning in October. IDF Chief Zamir reportedly told the officers that plans presented to the cabinet are aimed at the defeat of Hamas in Gaza, and preparations for the new stage of the war are underway. During the assessment, Zamir said the options presented by the army last week all had the goal of defeating Hamas, and he pushed back against critics in the cabinet who reportedly accused the army of preferring an approach that focused more on freeing the hostages than on dismantling Hamas. Zamir said the IDF will develop the best method according to defined objectives. The comments came as the army gears up to capture Gaza City, as instructed by the cabinet in a controversial decision on Sunday. The IDF already controls about 75% of the Gaza territory, and clashes with Hamas are ongoing. In a quick closing of a circle, the IDF eliminated a Hamas sniper who wounded an IDF soldier. The sniper fired at troops from a combat team of Brigade 401. An airstrike was called, and the sniper eliminated. Forces from the 215th Brigade eliminated a terror cell while on maneuvers. And in Khan Yunis, Division 36 destroyed significant underground structures and eliminated several Hamas gunmen in the past 24 hours.
Well, the United States has yet to take an official position on the Israeli plan to capture Gaza City. U.S. President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu had a phone call meeting on the issue, and the Israeli readout indicated a meeting of the minds. We hear more from ILTV's Devo Klein.
U.S. President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu reportedly discussed the Israeli plan to expand military operations in Gaza. According to an Israeli readout of the call, the two leaders talked about Israeli plans to take control of the remaining Hamas strongholds in Gaza in order to defeat Hamas, release the hostages, and bring about an end to the war. The White House has yet to read out the meeting. But President Trump told Axios that he does not believe that Hamas would agree to a hostage deal and ceasefire under the current circumstances in Gaza. In the comments to the news site, Trump declined to either endorse or oppose Netanyahu's recently approved plan to take over Gaza City. Trump added that Israel must decide what the next steps are in Gaza, while saying that he believes that Hamas cannot remain. Trump also told Axios that his conversation with Netanyahu was, quote, a good call.
Joining us now to discuss the IDF's strategy in Gaza and the next steps is Brigadier General Harel Knafel. Brigadier General, thank you so much for joining us at ILTV. To start, why is the takeover of Gaza City important? I mean, how does it help us achieve the war objectives?
Well, it's not only the city, it's all Gaza Strip, and it's just a part of it. It's the city of Gaza. But anyway, it's the heart, I would say even the mind of the Hamas regime. And we already took it before, a year and a half or something like that, after they did what they did at 7 to October. We took it, but we left it because we need to do other things. And now we have to come back and do it again, but for this time is for good. I mean, to take over the city and stay there as long as the hostages are not in our hand. After that, we will have to finish also with Khan Yunis and with the places in the middle, in the center of Gaza Strip. We have to finish everything. We have to take out Hamas regime from all the territories in Gaza Strip.
Now, we've heard a lot about the expansion of this military campaign, claims that it endangers the hostages. Is that true, in your opinion, or will these measures that increase pressure on Hamas actually see a more likelihood of them returning to negotiations or even releasing hostages?
I don't think that we have to deal with that now. What I think is that we have to make a big operation, and on the way, if they will come and say, okay, we will release some of the hostages for a short period of time of ceasefire, it will be okay. But this time we don't need to deal with it, not with the military forces anyway. The last operation that we made didn't succeed so much because the aim of this operation was to put pressure on Hamas to give hostages, and it didn't work out. That's why we need to do now something else, and we need to take over all the territory, and in the middle, if they want to bring us back hostages for ceasefire, maybe we will succeed to do it, but it's not the aim or not the objective of this operation.
So instead of the focus being on pressuring Hamas to negotiate, this is more about actually eradicating Hamas, correct?
That's right. We have two objectives in this war. Most of the time we gave priority to release hostages. And now I think that we came to a time that those two objectives are controversial, and we cannot succeed them both. So we have to put our focus now on eradicate or eliminate the Hamas itself. I know that it brings a bit of a danger to our hostages, but we have to do it because with the terms that the Hamas put on the table on the last time to release hostages, it means that the end of the release will be in a few years from now. They say until the Gaza Strip will release the last of the hostages when the Gaza Strip will be rebuilt again, and it will take years. That's why we don't have this time, even not for the life of the hostages. So we have to focus now on other things, and it will maybe it will bring a bit of danger or a lot of danger to the hostages. We have to do it. And what I think is, in this is the way that it will give us more chance to bring the hostages by ourselves and not by dealing with Hamas.
Well, let's hope for the best. I want to thank you, Brigadier General Harel Knafo, for shedding some light on this difficult situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, ILTV is excited to launch a special series in partnership with Israel Bonds, One-on-One with Lidar Gravelazi. Register now to access our premiere episode featuring guest Rawan Osman, a Lebanese, Syrian, German activist who transformed her past, shaped by extremism, into a future of bold empowerment. Join us Wednesday, August 20th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Scan the QR code on your screen to RSVP. This is a conversation you won't want to miss. Hundreds of thousands of people are planning on joining the nationwide strike scheduled for Sunday to protest the government plan to take over Gaza City. Meanwhile, the Histadrut, which is Israel's main labor federation, said they will not be joining, but supports employees who do. ILTV's Shosh Bedrosian is following the developments.
A nationwide strike is set to take place on Sunday to protest the plan to take over Gaza City, an initiative led by the families of hostages, fallen soldiers, and victims of October 7th. The plan to shut down the economy, with thousands of businesses and citizens planning on joining the strike, won't be joined by Histadrut, Israel's main labor federation, but they said its union would support workers planning to participate in a protest that day. Many companies in Israel's private tech sector like Wix, Fiverr, and Meta said they would join, and also the Israel Bar Association said they would also participate. Tel Aviv, Haifa, and Ben Gurion universities and dozens of local government heads across the country, including the mayor of Tel Aviv, Haifa, and Tiberias, are also joining in. The strike protests the war plans, but also comes with the emotion that more soldiers could be killed or wounded in the military expansion, and it could also risk the lives of hostages if they're being held in the area and could potentially lead to their execution. In a few weeks, Israel will be commemorating 1 year since 6 hostages were executed in a Hamas tunnel under the city of Rafah. They were brutally murdered by terrorists just a short while before IDF troops were able to reach them. Known as the Beautiful Six, their names are Hersh Goldberg, Poland, an American, Alexander Lubanov, Carmel Gat, Almog Sarusi, Eden Yerushalami, and Ori Danino. Meanwhile, reports say there are last-ditch efforts to strike a deal between Israel and Hamas before the evacuations in Gaza City are completed, which will likely only be in early October. It also comes as a time when Hamas delegations are heading to Egypt to revive conversations.
Well, after furious international reaction, Israel has released more details on Hamas commander Anas al-Sharif, killed in a targeted IDF airstrike while working as a reporter for Al Jazeera. Israel released documents showing al-Sharif has been an active Hamas terrorist since 2013. ILTV's Steve Leibowitz has more.
The army insists that al-Sharif was actively serving as the head of a Hamas terror cell and released photos and documents proving the assertion. The documents and intelligence include personnel rosters, records of Hamas training camps, phone directories, and salary documents, all showing al-Sharif to be a combatant and commander in Hamas. The documents detail al-Sharif's position as a fighter and cell leader since his enlistment in Hamas in 2013, including participation in elite Nukba battalions and efforts to use his journalistic credentials as a cover for operational activity. World leaders and the world media have largely ignored the evidence of al-Sharif's dual role. The accusations of al-Sharif's ties to Hamas were not new and were made public by Israel last October. This from Reporters Without Borders.
The accusation against Anas al-Sharif and a number of his colleagues is not new. We've seen it. We had already denounced it. We considered that the proof given was completely insufficient. The answers we got from the Israeli government were not at all satisfactory. We had denounced these accusations back in October.
The documents provided by the IDF detail al-Sharif's position as a Hamas officer while using his journalistic credentials as a cover for operational activity. How much more evidence does the world need? Even with the facts on Israel's side, much of the world is turning a blind eye to the evidence. Al-Sharif was a full-time terrorist who also reported for Al Jazeera.
I think it's important to note as well that BBC has actually confirmed Anas al-Sharif's previous involvement working for Hamas, BBC itself. Well, now joining ILTV to shed some light on this controversy is Simon Plosker, editorial director at Honest Reporting. Simon, thank you so much for being with us today. I mean, we've seen tremendous criticism over the killing of Al Jazeera journalist and Hamas operative Anas al-Sharif. What can you tell us about him?
So, I mean, all I can really tell you about him is what the IDF have released, which is that they say they have the intelligence to say that he's the head of a Hamas terrorist cell. The evidence certainly looks compelling. They show him on a list of Hamas operatives in the northern Gaza Strip Brigade, complete with his military ID, his serial number. They've got him on a Hamas list of operatives' injuries. They included him in a Hamas phone directory of the Nukba battalion, including his code name. So, there's a lot there, and that's without all of the other circumstantial evidence, such as his unrestrained delight on October 7th, the photos of him with Yahya Sinwar, for example. So there's that, and that's only the stuff that the IDF have said that is declassified. So given that the IDF has been all over Gaza collecting intelligence, one can imagine that they have a lot more on him as well.
Certainly, certainly. Now, Israel stands accused of killing at least dozens of journalists, but what's the reality here? Because time after time, we see that some of these Gaza-based reporters conveniently are also active in Hamas or Islamic Jihad.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we need to say, first of all, Israel does not deliberately target journalists who are doing a genuine job. Who they are targeting are people who are moonlighting as journalists by day and operating as terrorists by night. And unfortunately, there are quite a lot of them. And we're not talking just about people who work for well-known outlets such as Al Jazeera. There are plenty of Hamas-affiliated or actually run by Hamas media outlets there, other terrorist organizations. Islamic Jihad has its own media outlets. Hezbollah also has its own. We've even seen, for example, one journalist working for Western media who is now working for the Houthis, for their own media outlet inside Gaza. So it's really very, very clear that it's impossible to be a journalist, an independent journalist inside Gaza without having to work with Hamas, who of course rule over the Strip.
Certainly begs the question, what exactly is a journalist? And yet we see these rumors about what Israel is doing repeated all over the international media ad nauseum. What do you think that the international community should do in response to this really cynical abuse of journalism this way? And what role do networks like Al Jazeera play, especially given the fact that we saw similar tactics like with Hossam Shabat, another reporter of Al Jazeera, who it turned out was a Hamas operative?
No, absolutely. I think the role of Al Jazeera here is key. A Western audience may be very familiar with the English language network, which at least tries to present itself with some sort of credibility. But Al Jazeera's Arabic outlet goes way beyond that. The network has effectively been a Hamas supporter since way before October 7th. No media outlet has played a more significant role in promoting a Hamas-friendly narrative than Al Jazeera of what is going on inside the Gaza Strip. And even now, Al Jazeera is being treated in the same way as the New York Times, the BBC, despite the fact that it is Qatari-funded propaganda. And this latest incident involving Al Sharif is basically being used by Al Jazeera to promote a narrative in advance of Israel's operation, or at least its proposed operation inside Gaza City. And this is that Israel is attempting to, I suppose, silence voices in Gaza in order to cover up its crimes. This, of course, is not the case, but unfortunately, this is the narrative that's coming out right now. And Al Jazeera should not be treated as anything other than propaganda.
All right, well, we will continue to keep you updated on this story. I want to thank you, Simon Plosker from Honest Reporting, for your information today.
Thank you.
Well, the Islamic regime media has released what it calls a hit list of senior Israeli officials who they say must be killed, labeling them with titles like terror minister and child killer. The list, riddled with spelling errors, was published on the pro-Tehran Sabarin channel and names Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Defense Minister Israel Katz, Air Force Chief Major General Tomer Bar, and other security leaders. It comes months after Israel's strikes killed multiple top IRGC commanders and destroyed the regime's entire chain of command. Now desperate to save face, the Islamic Republic is amping up the propaganda game. Minister Katz responded on X, warning Supreme Leader Khamenei to look to the sky, a reference to the, quote, Red Wedding, end quote, operation that eliminated regime commanders. While the regime grows more desperate, Prime Minister Netanyahu has warned that Tehran is preparing for multiple scenarios. Well, today we're speaking with Hadass Goldman, a key figure in Jewish National Fund USA's work in northern Israel, about the critical visionary efforts underway to reimagine and rebuild the Galilee in towns like Kiryat Shmona. In the wake of months of evacuation and conflict, Jewish National Fund USA and partners like Makom support displaced families and inspire a bold return, investing in jobs, housing, security, and hope. More than 80,000 people were forced to leave the north. Now we're talking about bringing them back, and not just back, but back to something better. Hadass, I want to thank you so much for joining us today in studio. It's great to have you here. For those who are unfamiliar, can you paint a picture of what life was like in Kiryat Shmona before October 7th, and how has that changed pretty much overnight?
Well, before the war, Kiryat Shmona was a very close-knit, family-oriented place with around 23,000 residents there. And it's the northernmost city in the Upper Galilee, in the Eastern Galilee. And it's a city right on the border with Lebanon. So Kiryat Shmona was facing many, many security threats throughout the years. But in the past 20 years before the war, there was sort of a feeling of booming. So new businesses were opening, new investments, foreign investments, the agrotech, the high-tech scene there. The Tel Chai College was about to become a university, so many new research and development departments there. And so there was really a feeling that Kiryat Shmona was on the verge of being uplifted. Even though it's so far away from Tel Aviv, There's less job opportunities, there's less public transportation, less medical services, but everything was starting to grow. And after the war broke out, about a month and a half after, Kiryat Shmona was completely evacuated. The entire city was evacuated. The only other city that was completely evacuated in Israel was Sderot in the south. And the residents of Kiryat Shmona were spread out. Unlike in Sderot, where they were in 1 or 2 hotels, they were spread out in 300 different hotels and locations all over Israel.
Now, Makom specifically plays a very important role in these families returning as well as new residents. How are you working with them to help them come back to something better, as I mentioned?
Yeah. Well, Makom, when the war broke out, first thing, we were there in the hotels. Makom does community grassroots work all over the country, but we went in with the residents of Kiryat Shmona, organized them, helped them organize, worked very closely with the municipality and with all of the other local forces. And after the war was over, and in March and February 2025, when the residents were able to return to the north, then we said, okay, we have this mission of bringing back people, the local residents who were evacuated, and helping them move back, and also attracting new people to come and move. And what we did is we opened a repopulation desk. Makom runs a repopulation desk in Kiryat Shmona now, in which people can call in, and we also have campaigns to attract people. And when they call us and tell us, okay, we're thinking about either moving back or moving to the north, we take them every step along the way. We literally take them hand in hand and help them find schools for their kids and find housing and find jobs and help them be acquainted with the communities of Kiryat Shmona and really be integrated into the city.
Now, much of the work that you're doing focuses not just on the short term, but on the long-term vision in the north. I want to ask you, what gives you hope about the future of Israel's north after such a difficult thing that these residents have gone through?
Well, in one word, the people. We are actually seeing very large amounts of people that are calling us. We have over 1,000 people who have called our repopulation desk and that want to actually make the move and come from places like Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Haifa, around the country, and move to Kiryat Shmona.
Are these new residents?
These are new residents.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we're trying to bring in the old residents back, all right, because that's a major part of building the resilience of the city. But we want to have Kiryat Shmona have 60,000 residents in the next few years. We want it to be a major city in Israel and for the region, okay? So we actually help them get in and with whatever needs they have. And we see that the people that are calling us, they're motivated because they understand that Kiryat Shmona is a deeply strategic area in Israel where we need to have a stronghold on that border. And that means that people need to be living on that border. We know that that's a strategic point in Israel. So when people are coming, they have a Zionist vision. They want to be part of rebuilding the north and rebuilding this region, and they want to be part of the different efforts that are happening. And they're saying, okay, this is a place, it's good quality of life. We want to rebuild this area. We're coming. And we have meet and greets with people that come in. We help the new families, and we see that people have like light in their eyes, and they want to be part of this incredible mission.
All right, well, unfortunately, we do have to wrap up. I want to hear more about this, but we'll have to bring you back another time. Hadass Goldman from JNF USA, thank you so much for everything you're doing and for coming in today.
Thank you for having us.
And now let's take a look at day 676 of the ongoing war in Gaza. Amid the strikes on Hamas targets, the IDF is working feverishly on the new war plan that calls for the occupation of Gaza City. More from ILTV's Steve Leibowitz.
After receiving his orders from the political echelon, IDF Chief Eyal Zamir got busy preparing for the task of taking over Gaza City beginning in October. IDF Chief Zamir reportedly told the officers that plans presented to